But I wanted to talk about fear because it's something that actually affects all of us in our lives, and sometimes we don't maybe think of it like as affecting us. We may feel like I'm not a fearful person, or but it's not necessarily so overt as something frightening in front of us, or in a dark room and you can't find the light switch and you hear a noise, or anxiety, severe anxiety. Fear can come into our lives. Fear comes into our lives in more subtle ways, and it can be things like fear of rejection, fear of not being accepted, fear of being alone, fear of our situation around us, at home, not being comfortable or falling apart or changing, fear of things happening at work. It can be fear of the world around us, and fear of dying in a not so, like in the more subtle way of the strive to stay alive and, keeping the body, fed and taking our supplements and getting our exercise and, trying to keep our body going. So fear comes in these more kind of subtle ways. It can make us have anxiety or nervousness, or just feeling unsettled, a little bit uncomfortable, maybe a little bit unsure. And so in reality, it is affecting all of us, and often affecting us every day in some degree or another. And so we need a solution if we want to be actually peaceful inside. We need a solution to our this niggling fear that's always in the back of our minds, making us feel unpeaceful. And that solution needs to be spiritual, because the very nature of this world, the very nature of this material energy that makes up this world, that makes up these bodies that we're wearing, the mind that we're using, the very nature of the material energy is to be temporary, and is to be changing, and is to be uncertain, and is to have this kind of fear built into it. And so we need a spiritual solution. And I have a quote I would like to read. All fear is vanished All fear is vanished as soon as there is the sound of the Lord, represented by his holy names. Names like Gauranga, Krishna, Govinda. We can take advantage of these sounds and be freed from all threatening problems of material existence. And so we can think, oh look, it's, maybe you come once a week and you sing and it's nice and relaxing, and it's like, well, what's the big deal, about, it's just a mantra. How could that be such a solution to my free us from all the threatening problems of material existence? How's that possible? But these names of the Supreme Person are non-different from him. And so when we rest in them, when we take shelter in them, when we meditate on them, and we can realize that we are resting and taking shelter in the Supreme Person, our protector, our ever well-wisher, the person that loves us unconditionally, that always has our best interest in mind, that's always with us eternally as a friend, our constant companion, someone that we can always turn to and pray to and to open our heart to. That is in these mantras, that is in these names, that is how we can relate to the Supreme Person. The Supreme Person is not a mystery. The Supreme Person is as close as his names. So if we are feeling fearful, we know that we can turn to these transcendental sounds, these mantras, these names of the Supreme Being, and find shelter and peace and love and comfort. And so we can not just only sing them when we all get together, but we can meditate upon them in our mind and say them out loud if appropriate throughout our days and throughout our life as well, bringing them into our daily routines. Doing some meditation in the morning, listening to chanting on the way to work, remembering them and humming in them, at your desk or whatever, Always having that as somewhere that you can turn to for solace and relief from any fear and anxiety. And fear isn't a bad thing. Anxiety isn't a bad thing, because it gives us an opportunity to question, why am I fearful? Is this place my home? Who am I really? What's going to happen when I die? What are the causes of my fear? Why are they making me fearful? It's an opportunity to question and then to change. Because if we don't have challenges, then we can just cruise along on the same route, and we don't have an opportunity to grow. And so we can see fear as an opportunity to make inquiry, to make spiritual inquiry as to my real identity, my real nature, my real home. And it's a good incentive to begin this kind of spiritual exploration. So fear isn't a bad thing. And then once we've maybe made a bit of a spiritual exploration, we're on a spiritual journey, it's a reminder there that, we need help, we need shelter, we are not all powerful and strong. So when we experience fear, it's a reminder that I can take refuge and take shelter and take rest in the Supreme Being. That is my natural function, is to be resting in that relationship of love. So it's actually a nice reminder. We can see it as a nice reminder instead of something that's negative. That can be hard when you're in the grips of fear or anxiety, but if you have that knowledge, then hopefully you can remember that at some point in there, and this is an opportunity for me to grow and to change. And I also had another quote that I would like to read. This is by my spiritual teacher. Simply by the dim reflection of sunlight, like in the early morning before the sun's come up, there's just a little bit of light on the horizon. Simply by the dim reflection of sunlight, one becomes liberated from the darkness. Likewise, simply by the dim reflection of the transcendental sound, one becomes liberated. But this liberation from fear and anxiety is just the beginning of the benefits of these transcendental sounds. Just as when the sun globe itself appears above the horizon and we begin to realize the full benefits, the warmth of its rays, so too when the sun of the transcendental sound arises in your heart, you gradually begin to realize the full benefits of the rays of spiritual love. So this is our solution to fear and to anxiety, to welcome and invite spiritual sound, these mantras, into our hearts and into our lives, and rest in that remembrance of our spiritual nature as a part and parcel, a spark of the Supreme Person. And so when we meditate on these mantras, as we focus our mind on the sound, the syllables, we're focusing on the Supreme Person, we're resting in that, and our spiritual love can gradually grow, and our peace can increase, and our fear and anxiety can decrease. So I invite you to take this gift and bring it into your life, and hopefully share it with someone else, share it with other people as well, because it is the most wonderful gift. Thank you very much. Namaste.